Inside the scientific foundations of consumer research. In this video, you will learn about the three main consumer response types, the three main consumer research methods, correlation and causation, and reducing uncertainty in consumer research. Consumer research investigates three main categories of consumer responses that provide insights into the sets of decisions consumers make about acquisition, use, and disposition of products, services, etc. These three categories are consumer feelings, consumer thoughts, and consumer actions. Consumers experience feelings and emotions when they read about, hear about, think about, use, or dispose of products. Consumers' thoughts include beliefs, opinions, attitudes, and intentions pertaining to products and services. Actions consumers undertake include purchase decisions and consumption-related practices such as paying with cash or credit card, using the self-checkout lane versus checking out with a cashier, and purchasing milk from a convenience store versus a supermarket. Studying consumer behavior is an applied science, and as such it uses other disciplines such as economics, psychology, sociology, anthropology, and statistics to aid in studying consumers. Three major methodological approaches are used in studying consumer behavior. The first is observation. Observing consumer behaviors in different situations, such as in-home observation, shadowing, and physiological observation methods. The second method is interviews and surveys. This includes small intercepts, telephone surveys, mail surveys, focus groups, and longitudinal studies. And lastly, we have experimentation, which attempts to understand cause and effect relationships by carefully manipulating independent variables to determine how these changes affect dependent variables. And this includes lab experiments and field experiments. Scientific research can increase managers' understanding about two types of relationships between consumer responses and marketing factors such as ads, prices, product attributes, salespeople. And these two relationships are correlational relationships and causal relationships. A correlation relationship is one in which an increase or decrease in one variable is associated with an increase or decrease in another variable. For example, an increase in the amount of advertising used for a product, such as Pampers, is typically associated with an increase in sales of that product. This is a positive correlation. In contrast, a negative correlation occurs when an increase in one variable is associated with a decrease in another variable. For instance, a decrease in the amount of a popular product that is stocked in retail stores can sometimes be associated with an increase in demand for that product, such as a new smartphone or think new video game consoles. An important characteristic, however, of correlation is that the relationship between the variables is non-directional. It may be that A influences B, B influences A, or they may influence each other simultaneously. For example, the positive correlation between advertising and sales can occur because greater product sales is fueling the advertising budget, or because exposure to the advertising is leading more people to buy, or both. So take a moment and think, how could the negative correlation between product stock levels and product demand be explained bidirectionally? The second type of relationship scientific research can shed light on are causal relationships. In a causal relationship, there is correlation and a certain direction of influence. That is to say, a cause that precedes the effect. In scientific research, the cause or causal variable is referred to as the independent variable, and the effect or consequence is called the dependent variable. because of its dependence on the independent variable. Conducting an experiment is the best way to establish causality because it allows for setting levels of the independent variable and then observing or recording the effect on the dependent variable. For example, in a retail store, one could use a 2-for-1 product promotion sign for milk on one day, and on a different day, put a 50% off price promotion sign on that same milk display. And then we'd measure the number of milk units sold on each day. Now, both price promotions result in the same price paid per unit of milk, but it may be that the different price promotion signs, because of the way they are stated, influence consumer thinking differently. This experiment would enable the consumer researcher to assert that one price promotion increased sales more than the other, if that was indeed the case. In scientific research, inferring causation has 3 requirements. Firstly, the 2 variables must be correlated. Second, the cause must precede the effect. And 3, the effects of other variables must be controlled or ruled out. In other words, on either day of the milk price promotion experiment, they should avoid carrying it out on days where there is a mommy and me meeting taking place next door, where there's going to be lots of moms looking to buy milk for their kids, or avoid performing this experiment on a day when free cookie samples are being provided in the store, and hence people are going to be running towards the milk to wash down those cookies. Although experiments are a thorough method for establishing that one variable causes another, causal relationships between marketing factors and consumer variables are a little difficult to ascertain because consumer responses are multiply determined, which means that the effect can be caused by many different independent variables acting individually or acting together to produce the effect. However, scientists are aware of this uncertainty, and the focus is on reducing it. So consumer research methods that reduce uncertainty include using multiple converging measures of attitudes, beliefs, opinions, preferences, judgments, and dispositions. And statistical procedures are also used to control for extraneous variables and their effects. So managers must make difficult decisions under uncertain conditions, but scientific research provides a basis for decision-making that reduces uncertainty far better than managerial intuition.